Our story begins with a seasoned mercenary who introduces himself as Mormont Carl. He steps forward and, in a commanding voice, asks if anyone has any idea where they are. This question hangs in the air, met with puzzled silence, until a man named Lyle decides to speak up. Lyle introduces himself and provides some background information, stating that he ran a woodshop in the Adora region. He looks around at the others and admits that, just like Carl, he has no idea why they have all been brought to this place. The next person to introduce himself is a man named Grit. Grit tells everyone that he works at an antique store in the Halsea region. His voice carries a hint of confusion as he explains that he is equally clueless about the reason for their presence in this mysterious location. Following Grit, a girl steps forward and introduces herself as Jenna. Jenna explains that she lives in a remote forest, far from any bustling towns or cities. She too expresses her lack of understanding about why they have been gathered here. Lastly, our protagonist steps forward to introduce himself. He is a humble farmer named Han Islet. With Han's introduction, it becomes clear that there are a total of 11 people present in this unknown place. As they all exchange glances, it becomes evident that none of them know why they are here or how they got here. Some of the group members begin to wonder aloud if this situation could be a dream or an illusion. The speculation continues until someone nervously suggests that they might have been dragged here by some powerful magician or sorcerer. Carl, ever the pragmatic mercenary, dismisses this idea and tells the group to stop talking nonsense. He tries to ground the conversation in reality, urging everyone to focus on the facts. Lyle, trying to bring some clarity to the situation, points out that the only thing they can be certain of is that everyone present is from the same region, Taenir. They might be able to figure out an important clue if they continue to converse with one another. The group exchanges glances, each person trying to think of something useful to share. Then, suddenly, a fairy steps forward, her appearance dazzling and unexpected. She asks everyone what they're talking about in a voice that commands attention. Before anyone can respond, the fairy informs them that her master is about to open a space-time rift. She tells them that they should all get ready to fight, causing a ripple of shock and confusion among the group. People are taken aback, their eyes widening in surprise as they take in the sight of the fairy. She introduces herself as Isel, and she explains that she is the fairy who manages this place. Isel goes on to tell everyone present that they should stay in line if they don't want to get hurt. Her words carry an undeniable authority that silences any murmurs of dissent. Carl, ever the bold mercenary, steps forward and asks Isel if she is the one who brought them here. His voice is firm, demanding answers. Isel, with a calm yet mysterious demeanor, asks Carl why he wants to know this. Carl, growing impatient, tells Isel to stop talking nonsense and insists that she answer his question directly. Isel, unfazed by Carl's demeanor, warns him that if he doesn't want to be taken down, he should stop right now. Her tone is stern, a clear warning that Carl chooses to ignore. Angered by her response, Carl starts to emit his aura, a visible manifestation of his power and intent. He tells Isel that he will teach her a lesson, his voice filled with determination and anger. As Carl charges to attack Isel, the fairy responds with lightning speed. In an instant, Isel takes Carl down with a single, precise strike. The speed and efficiency of her move leave everyone in stunned silence. Then, Isel, with a serious expression, tells everyone that anyone who tries to hurt her will be taken down as an act of self-defense. Her stern tone leaves no room for argument. The group can't believe what's going on, their minds reeling from the sudden and dramatic turn of events. Murmurs of confusion ripple through the crowd as they try to process what Isel has just said. Desperate for clarity, someone steps forward and asks Isel what she wants. Isel, maintaining her serious demeanor, replies that her only desire is for everyone to listen to her orders, fight well, and win. That's all she wants from them. Suddenly, a glowing window appears in front of them, displaying a message that a party has been formed. The names Lyle, Lanto, Marlin, Kelkud, and Jackson appear, indicating that they have joined Party 1. This unexpected development causes a mix of surprise and curiosity among the group. Seeing this, Isel thinks to herself that her master has finally started operating. Isol then turns her attention to the newly formed Party 1 and tells them to get ready, as the space-time rift is opening now. The anticipation builds as a door to the space rift slowly materializes in front of them. The members of Party 1 exchange nervous glances, their surprise evident as they gaze at the mysterious doorway. Isol instructs them to enter the door in front of them if they don't want to be taken down, her tone leaving no room for hesitation. At that crucial moment, Han steps forward with a determined look on his face. He addresses Isol directly, stating that he is sure she also wants to climb the tower. His bold statement catches everyone's attention. Han then asks Isol to have her master summon a weapon for them, pointing out that everyone here is a 1-star without even a basic weapon. His request is practical and urgent, highlighting the dire need for proper equipment. Hearing this, Jenna's curiosity is piqued. She wonders what Han is talking about. Han tells Isol that they have lost their precious 2-star hero and asks if Isol can at least grant this request. He emphasizes the importance of having proper equipment for their survival and effectiveness in battle. Isol pauses, thinking about the situation, and realizes that Han's request is valid. She communicates silently with her master, and shortly after, summons the necessary equipment for the participants. The group watches in amazement, Lyle, curious and somewhat anxious, then asks Han if he knows anything about this place. Han replies that he doesn't know much either because he hasn't been here long. He shares the little information he has gathered, saying the only thing he knows for sure is that they can be taken down if they are too slow. His words carry a sense of urgency and caution. Hearing this, Jenna starts to think that Han might know more about this place than he is letting on. She wonders if he has some insight or experience that could help them understand their situation better. Han then advises everyone to go and grab a weapon from the assortment that Isol has summoned. He warns them that something is going to start soon, and they need to be prepared. People, confused but driven by a need for self-preservation, ask Han what he means by that. Han, already moving towards the room with the weapons, tells everyone that he is talking about the battle. The gravity of his statement sinks in, and a wave of realization washes over the group. As Han reaches the room, everyone else quickly follows, rushing to pick a weapon, and they each choose the weapon that suits them best. Party 1 members, now armed, look more confident and ready to face whatever challenges lie ahead. Isol then addresses Party 1 directly, instructing them to enter the rift. Her voice is firm and commanding, leaving no room for hesitation. Lyle, still adjusting to the rapid succession of events, is surprised to see the portal that has appeared before them. Its swirling, mystical energy is both fascinating and intimidating. Isol, noticing the delay and growing increasingly frustrated, tells Party 1 to stop wasting time and just enter the rift. Her impatience is evident, and she emphasizes the urgency of their mission. On the other hand, we see that Han has picked up a shield. As Jenna observes Han, she wonders why he is examining a shield in the midst of all this chaos. She thinks to herself that she should have taken that shield for herself, especially since she brought a bow and arrow, which might not be as effective in close combat. The shield seems to offer a sense of security and defense that she now wishes she had. Jenna, feeling a mix of curiosity and frustration, approaches Han and asks him if he knows what's going to happen next. She also wants to know why they need weapons, where they are, and what's the deal with the ferry. Han, somewhat exasperated by the barrage of questions, tells Jenna that she sure does have a lot of questions. He explains that their immediate task is to go to the battlefield and take down all the enemies. He tells her that as for the rest, she will have to figure it out herself. His answer, though not entirely satisfying, hints at the urgency and danger of their situation. Suddenly, a notification appears, stating that Party 1 has been taken down by the enemies. This news shocks both Han and Jenna. Jenna, now even more anxious, asks Han what is going on. Han, trying to maintain focus, tells her to keep quiet. In his mind, Han is troubled by the fact that one party has already been defeated. He understands the gravity of their predicament and the high stakes of their mission. Meanwhile, Isol, who has been monitoring the situation, becomes increasingly frustrated upon hearing that Party 1 has been taken down. Her disappointment is palpable, and she knows that they cannot afford more failures. Then, another notification appears, stating that Han, Gale, Grit, Dazzle, and Jenna have now joined Party 1. Then, Isol, with a commanding tone, instructs everyone remaining to prepare themselves for what lies ahead. Hearing this, Han, with a sense of determination, declares that their turn is next. Amidst the anticipation, an old man steps forward as he voices his inability to keep up due to his physical limitations. Despite his plea, Isol remains unmoved, emphasizing the urgency of the mission above individual concerns. With Jenna's help, the party readies themselves to enter the space rift, with Han leading the way. As they step into the rift, a whirlwind of energy envelopes them, transporting them to a new and unfamiliar location. The sudden change in surroundings prompts a collective gasp of surprise from the group. They find themselves standing in what appears to be a vast temple, its ancient walls adorned with cryptic symbols and writings. As they take in their surroundings, a window materializes before them, stating their purpose. It declares that they have entered the first floor of the main dungeon and that their mission is to ascend the tower to save the world. Sensing the impending challenge, Han rallies the party, urging them to prepare for what lies ahead. In a sudden flash of light, they find themselves transported to Dungeon Level 1, disoriented but determined. Surveying their new surroundings, the party is met with a daunting sight. A horde of Level 3 goblins advancing towards them. Han wastes no time in addressing the imminent threat, reminding the party that they stand on the battlefield. He emphasizes the importance of fighting back, warning them that failure to do so will result in being overrun by the goblins. But as Han turns, he sees that 3 of his party members start to run away, their panicked footsteps echoing through the chamber. Jenna, noticing their retreat, attempts to halt her fleeing comrades, but her efforts are in vain. The trio collides with an unseen barrier, their startled expressions mirrored by the realization that escape is impossible. Jenna, her resolve unbroken, turns to Han with a question. Can they leave this place if they defeat all those goblins? With a determined glint in her eye, she prepares to face the advancing horde. Han, recognizing Jenna's determination, inquires about her proficiency with a bow. Jenna, her voice tinged with memories of her upbringing, reveals that her father was a skilled hunter, imparting to her some knowledge of archery. Pleased with her response, Han outlines a battle strategy. He will engage the goblins up close while Jenna provides ranged support from behind. Jenna readily agrees to Han's plan, her trust in their teamwork unwavering. Before they charge into battle, Jenna seeks reassurance about the fate of their other party members. Han, his focus firmly fixed on the impending fight, dismisses her concerns, urging her to concentrate on the present challenge. With a shared nod of understanding, they prepare to face the approaching onslaught. As the goblins surge forward, Han's sword slashes through the air with practiced precision, while Jenna's arrows find their mark with deadly accuracy. Amidst the chaos of battle, Han's thoughts drift to a startling realization. He admits to himself that he has never wielded a sword or a shield before. In a moment of vulnerability, he discloses his true name, Islet, not Han, and his real identity, Seojin. And Han was ended up teleported into the game he was playing. Pick Me Up is a mobile game developed by the renowned game studio Mobius Unit, known for its innovative gameplay and immersive experiences. In this captivating game, players embark on a thrilling journey to raid the formidable 100-level tower, a daunting challenge that requires not only strategic prowess but also careful management of resources and hero development. The core objective of Pick Me Up revolves around supporting heroes by producing essential materials and constructing a formidable base camp. These heroes, with their diverse abilities and strengths, are the key to conquering the tower. However, achieving success in this perilous quest demands more than mere brute force. Players must employ cunning tactics and strategic planning to overcome each level's formidable obstacles. For Han, the protagonist of our story, life was ordinary until just yesterday. However, as he gazes into the screen of his smartphone, a sense of excitement courses through him as he anticipates the imminent opening of the Advent dungeon. Finally, after what seems like an eternity, Pick Me Up unveils a thrilling new event, adding an extra layer of depth and excitement to the gameplay experience. In Pick Me Up, hero ranks vary from humble 1-star adventurers to legendary 7-star champions, each with their unique abilities and attributes. Despite his dedication and countless attempts, Han finds himself plagued by misfortune, unable to summon a hero above 5 stars, despite the thousands of free pulls he has made. However, Han's determination remains unwavering as he sets his sights on obtaining the elusive Book of Fate Reversal, a rare item essential for creating a formidable 7-star hero. Despite the daunting odds, Han sees no reason to shy away from the challenge presented by the event. In Pick Me Up, participation is not merely an option. It is a necessity for those seeking to ascend to greatness. Unlike other games that offer character training, Pick Me Up stands out for its uncompromising adherence to hardcore rules. Here, no amount of care or investment can shield a character from the harsh consequences of defeat. The character couldn't be brought back. Han realizes that regardless of whether the character is 1 star or 6 star, it's all over when the character dies. Scouting out the dungeon using a disposable party is a must. As Han enters the Advent dungeon in the game with his characters, suddenly a warning notification appears, stating that Han's party stats are decreased by 30%. Han is surprised to see this and wonders what his characters are afraid of. However, he brushes it off, thinking that it doesn't matter as he just needs to see the boss patterns. Then, suddenly, Han's team is taken down in an instant. Han is shocked to see that the boss is level 999. He thinks that it's clearly a system error, as his team was taken down without even being able to see the boss patterns, and he couldn't get anything. Amidst the chaos, a chilling moment ensues as the boss, with a sinister smile, looks directly at Han and utters the words, "Found you." Han is frozen in shock, his mind racing with confusion. He wonders if this is simply another one of the boss's patterns. Despite the uncertainty, Han is determined to unravel the mystery that now confronts him. To his surprise, instead of the expected conclusion of the game, a new window suddenly appears, announcing that a new account is being created. And a window appears, stating that Han should choose a name. Then, a list of available names appears. Another window appears, welcoming Han into the game of Pick Me Up. A new window then appears, asking if Han would like to play the tutorial. Upon completion, Han will receive a set reward. Suddenly, Han wakes up in the middle of a territory. A system window appears, stating that he is in a small village in the Hyam territory. In this place resides a boy named Han Islet. The land is known for its harmony between humans and non-humans, known as Taenir. However, an unknown enemy has invaded this continent of peace. If Han wishes to save the world, he must climb the tower, accompanied by other heroes. Han receives a tutorial quest to defeat the goblins that have invaded the village. As he looks back, he sees a goblin. Shocked and surprised, Han wonders if this is a real place. It doesn't take long for him to realize that this is indeed reality. The goblin strikes at Han with full force, but Han blocks the attack using a sword. But Han was able to push back the goblin and take it down with a single strike. Then, a window appears, stating that Han has cleared the stage. Additionally, Han has leveled up and received rewards. On the other hand, Han doesn't understand what is going on here. Suddenly, he is stunned to see the familiar scenery of the game. Pick Me Up. Then, another window appears, instructing Han to make an ally before continuing to the next stage. Han receives a first-time special service of a premium summon, but he has no idea what is happening. Suddenly, a girl in armor is summoned in front of Han. This summon is super rare. Han wonders if he was also summoned like this, as a summoner hero for a user of Pick Me Up. The girl introduces herself as Shay Radisteri, a 4-star summon. Shay asks Han if he is the one who summoned her and inquires about his identity. Han introduces himself, and in response, Shay introduces herself as well, revealing that she is a knight. As the window appears, announcing Han and Shay's newly formed party, their master, Whatever, wastes no time and promptly dispatches them back into the dungeon to face the looming threat of monsters once more. Amidst the chaos of battle, Shay turns to Han with a curious inquiry, wondering if he's a novice in the realm of combat. Han's admission that it's his first time embarking on such an adventure contrasts sharply with Shay's seasoned expertise. While Han grapples with the unfamiliar weight of a sword, Shay effortlessly dispatches 5 goblins in the blink of an eye, showcasing her prowess as a 4-star hero. Following their triumphant victory, Han reflects on the significant difference in skill between them, attributed to Shay's higher star rating. Despite this gap, Han harbors no resentment, instead focusing his attention on the challenges that lie ahead. Their journey takes an unexpected turn as they progress to the final stage of the tutorial, to synthesis. Guided by another window prompt, Han touches the Synthesized tab, transporting them to a new location where they encounter Isol. Isol, taken aback by Han's unexpected familiarity with her name, inquires about his knowledge. Han tells Isol that, of course, he knows this because he played Pick Me Up game a lot. Isol looks in her book and realizes that Han doesn't look like in the picture. Han explains to Isol that he is from Earth. Frustrated by this revelation, Isol sends him to another place, where Han meets Shay again. Then, the synthesis process begins, startling Han as he witnesses it starting. Synthesis strengthens by combining two heroes together, with one of them being sacrificed to enhance the other's stats. During this procedure, one of the heroes is guaranteed to be sacrificed. The issue arises as Han is only a 1-star hero, while Shay is a 4-star knight. A normal player would have no reason to choose Han. Closing his eyes, Han resigns himself to what he believes is the end. However, to his surprise, after the synthesis completes, he finds that he has survived. It is Shay who disappears. Confused, Han asks Shay why she is disappearing, arguing that it doesn't make sense as she is a 4-star and he is only a 1-star. Shay explains to Han that she wasn't chosen, and that's all there is to it. With a serene smile, Shay entrusts Han with the situation before gracefully vanishing, leaving Han in a state of bewildered astonishment. As the scene shifts back to the present, Grit falls victim to the relentless strikes of the goblins. While Jenna and Han valiantly engage in combat with the ferocious creatures, their allies opting for retreat. In the midst of the chaos, Han reflects on his survival and ponders the mechanics of hero synthesis, recognizing his stroke of luck and attributing Shay's sacrifice to a potential error by their master. Despite the turmoil, Han queries Jenna about the status of the remaining goblins, to which she reports her successful dispatch of one. Suddenly, an unexpected blow strikes Han from behind as a goblin lunges at him, testing his resolve. With determination etched on his face, Han swiftly retaliates, dispatching the assailant with precision. Frustration gnaws at him as he contemplates his mysterious summoning into the game, linking it to the ominous laughter of the level 999 monster. Concerned for Han's well-being, Jenna approaches him, inquiring about his injured arm. With steadfast assurance, Han reassures her that his injuries will heal upon their return. As the player has minimal control over the game's combat, most battles are automated, driven by the heroes themselves. Despite this, the game boasts an impressive global player base of 100 million users. One reason for its popularity is the player's ability to observe the game world from a godlike perspective. Han gazes thoughtfully at the sky and muses, "Is it fun?" He reminisces about his own enjoyment of the pick-me-up game, crafting items, devising strategies, nurturing heroes, and uncovering hidden elements. Han considers the game's quality, noting his own significant ranking as 5th in the world. He acknowledges the watchful eye of Loki, the master of masters, as he navigates through the challenges until the end. Following their success, the stage clear window appears, indicating Jenna's level up. Meanwhile, Han earns the MVP title for this stage, underscoring his skill and contribution. Remarkably, only Jenna and Han emerge victorious from this stage. Then, the scene transitions to the training center, where Han diligently engages in his training regimen. Amidst the exertion, Han grapples with the stark reality confronting him. He exists within the confines of the pick-me-up game, reborn and summoned as a lowly 1-star hero. Contemplating his predicament, Han discerns two perilous paths to demise for heroes: falling in combat or succumbing to combination. As Han reflects on his status as a 1-star hero, he realizes the inherent shortcomings of his classification. In Pick Me Up, 1-star heroes are deemed virtually inconsequential, burdened by abysmal statistics and negligible growth prospects. Han's thoughts are consumed by the looming threat of being rendered obsolete through combination, a fate he must strive to avoid at all costs. Despite these daunting challenges, Han finds solace in his gradual progress. Having ascended to level 5, Han's attributes, including intelligence and strength, have also seen marked improvement. Yet, Han remains acutely aware of the arduous journey ahead. Survival, vengeance, and liberation hinge on his ability to fortify himself, both physically and mentally. Navigating the uncertain landscape of the game, Han harbors a deep-seated conviction that adaptation is key to staving off defeat. Beyond physical prowess, Han recognizes the indispensable role of mental resilience. In the face of adversity, succumbing to nervousness could prove fatal. Thus, Han resolves to cultivate not only his physical strength, but also the unwavering fortitude of his mind, ensuring his endurance in the trials to come. Han reflects on his past, reminiscing about the times when he had to fend for himself during his youth, navigating life's challenges without the safety net of parental guidance or external support. Despite the adversity, Han persisted, relying on his own resilience to weather the storms that came his way. Engrossed in his rigorous training routine, Han remains steadfast in his commitment to honing his skills. It's a solitary pursuit, driven by his inner determination and a desire to overcome the obstacles presented by the game. In the midst of his training, Jenna approaches Han, her presence interrupting his focus. Curious about his activities, she questions him about his objectives. Han responds bluntly, informing her that he's training to combat the monsters that threaten their existence within the game. Jenna, taken aback by Han's curt demeanor, expresses her frustration, explaining that she went out of her way to find him. Despite her initial annoyance, she shifts the conversation to a more serious tone, contemplating their situation. She acknowledges the harsh reality that they cannot simply leave the confines of the game, realizing that they must confront the challenges it presents head-on. Drawing from her own background as the daughter of a hunter, Jenna shares her pastime of archery, a skill she's honed over the years. She reassures Han that she won't be a hindrance to his efforts and emphasizes the importance of taking proactive steps rather than succumbing to despair. Inquisitive about Han's experience and expertise, Jenna probes him about his knowledge of survival strategies within the game. Han reciprocates her curiosity, asking about her combat experience. Jenna admits that yesterday marked her first real encounter with combat, having spent most of her time indoors. Despite her lack of experience, she remains determined to adapt and learn. Continuing, Han reflects on Jenna's recent progress. Noting her advancement to level 4 and her beginner-level archery skill, he muses over the possibility of her stats increasing by 4 since yesterday. This prompts him to speculate about the relatively low growth value of Jenna's attributes. Despite this, he acknowledges Jenna's possession of a prerequisite skill, a noteworthy trait for a 1-star hero. Despite her initial clumsiness in combat, Jenna's ability to shoot down a goblin stands as a testament to her potential. What impresses Han even more is Jenna's resilience. Rather than being shaken by the encounter with death, she remains resolute and focused on her goals. Han can't help but admire Jenna's determination, seeing her as a valuable ally in their shared struggle within the game. Encouraged by Jenna's commitment, Han offers his assistance. Jenna recalls her father's sage advice about the importance of choosing trustworthy companions for survival. With a gesture of agreement, she extends her hand to Han, symbolizing their mutual commitment to support each other through the challenges ahead. A notification promptly appears, indicating the establishment of a friendship bonus between them. Following this exchange, Han decides to summon Isol, despite her apparent frustration with the interruption. He remarks on the speed of her response, considering her purportedly busy schedule. Isol firmly informs Han that regardless of how many times he repeats the question, she won't divulge any information. Instead, she suggests that if Han is truly curious about scaling the tower, he should seek enlightenment within its walls. Han then points out to Isol that he's the sole observer of a status screen hovering above her head. Taken aback, Isol confesses her confusion, admitting she has no clue about what Han is referring to. Undeterred, Han insists that the screen displays 257 in clear view. This revelation prompts Han to surmise that he alone possesses the ability to perceive game messages, including those from the elusive master. Inquisitive, Han presses Isol about her contingency plans in the event of the master's departure from the game. Isol's response is a resigned admission that she can only hope for the master's continued presence. Reflecting on past events, Han recalls the incident involving the attempted combination of himself and Shay by the master, whatever. This wasn't a mere mishap. Rather, it underscored the rarity of a 4-star hero like Shay being merged with a 1-star hero like himself. Han bemoans the missed opportunity, lamenting how their 1 in 100 chance of success was squandered due to a simple input error. Han reflects on the intricacies of Pick Me Up, realizing that it's intricately linked to the phone, making it immune to simple resets by the master. Since they began playing, an entire week has elapsed, prompting Han's curiosity about the passage of time in this digital realm compared to Earth. However, Isol remains tight-lipped, refusing to provide any answers to Han's inquiries, frustrating him. Despite her silence, Han deduces that time might indeed flow differently here, drawing on Isol's reluctance as a clue. He expresses his gratitude to Isol for inadvertently shedding light on this mystery, further exacerbating her frustration. In the midst of this revelation, Han also ponders the limits of Isol's influence, realizing that she can only intervene in specific circumstances, either in self-defense or when a hero refuses the master's commands. Understanding the importance of adapting to these rules, Han acknowledges that failure to do so could result in defeat, highlighting it as the fundamental law of this unfamiliar world. Meanwhile, Jenna, intrigued by Han's interaction with Isol, seeks clarification. Han elucidates their mission: to conquer a towering structure spanning 100 floors. He explains the role of the master, who issues directives through Isol, guiding them through their missions and quests. Once they reach the 100th floor, they should be able to get released. Jenna asks Han if that means they'll have to continuously fight monsters. Han tells Jenna that's why they have to train to become stronger. Jenna then questions whether it's possible with just the two of them. Han responds by explaining that the master can use money to summon people like them, and they are going to summon a lot of people. He emphasizes that their choices from this point on will decide their lives, but ultimately, their lives depend on the master's choices. After training for a whole day, Han discovers a fascinating rule in this world. The necessities and food are refilled the next day. Furthermore, if Han thinks about the things he wants, they appear the next day in a drawer or in the closet. However, weapons don't appear, and there are different rules when it comes to getting results from training. Han reflects on how things he didn't understand when he used to play Pick Me Up now make sense, particularly regarding the differing combat abilities of heroes of the same rank. There was a notable commonality among them: a dedication to training. They weren't complacent when it came to honing their skills. Although training didn't directly augment their stats or levels, it played a crucial role in developing their abilities and refining their techniques. A discerning master would swiftly categorize their main heroes into 3 distinct groups. Firstly, mental fortitude. Heroes prone to panic wouldn't garner the master's attention. Secondly, skills. While high-rank heroes arrived with pre-existing skills, the majority of low-rank heroes concealed their talents, awaiting discovery by the master. Thirdly, physique. This was presently Han's focal point. As he diligently pursued his training regimen, 3 days had elapsed since he commenced. Suddenly, a notification popped up, signaling the master's connection to the game. Han realized he had acquired 2 new skills through his rigorous training. Promptly, he alerted Jenna to prepare, as the master's presence indicated a new hero summoning session. Given the fixed party size of 5, the master would pull 3 times. Then, a window appeared, illuminating the screen with the announcement that Master Whatever had acquired 3 new heroes: Aaron, Toby, and Yelson. Confusion and surprise clouded the expressions of these freshly summoned individuals. Jenna stepped forward, offering reassurance to the bewildered trio, assuring them that she and Han would guide them through this unfamiliar terrain safely. Amidst the uncertainty, Yelson interjected, alerting everyone to the opening of the Space Rift Gate. Despite their induction into Party 1, Aaron, Toby, and Yelson remained perplexed by their sudden arrival. Han swiftly directed Jenna to retrieve her weapon, emphasizing the urgency of their impending battle preparations. In the wake of this preparation, a window materialized on the screen, outlining the protocol for equipping heroes. It indicated that those without designated equipment would enter battle armed with old swords, while any weapons deposited in the armory would be allocated accordingly. Han deduced the necessity for this policy shift, recalling how their previous defeat had stemmed from their reliance on weaponry. Amidst the ensuing chaos, Eren and Toby clamored for Yeltsin to facilitate their return, prompting Jenna to intervene in an effort to diffuse the tension. Isolson directed his inquiry toward Jenna and Han, questioning their allegiance to the fairy and their potential involvement in the summoning of himself and the others. Jenna explains to Yeltsin that she couldn't have orchestrated their summoning, as she herself was also unexpectedly pulled into this situation. Han echoes Jenna's sentiment, cautioning Yeltsin against creating unnecessary commotion, assuring him that the truth would soon come to light. However, despite their attempts at reasoning, Eren, Toby, and Yeltsin persist in their futile argument with Isol. Concerned, Jenna queries Han about potential repercussions from Isol's frustration. In a surprising turn of events, Isol decides to swiftly resolve the dispute by flinging the trio into the space rift, bidding them an ambiguous farewell. As they materialize on the second floor of the tower, tasked with confronting a new wave of adversaries, Isolson and his companions find themselves in a state of shock. Meanwhile, Han and Jenna brace themselves for the impending battle, albeit with the added challenge of facing level 4 wolves alongside the goblins. Jenna's apprehension is palpable, evidenced by the 30% reduction in her stats. Sensing her unease, Han inquires about her well-being, inadvertently startling her in the process, prompting Jenna to express her frustration. Han reassures Jenna, assigning tasks for their impending confrontation. He'll confront the wolves while Jenna tackles the two goblins. A notification then pops up, signaling Jenna's newfound composure. Witnessing this change in Jenna's demeanor, Han experiences a sense of relief. It seems apparent to Han that the newcomers won't offer much assistance, as he had anticipated. As the monsters advance towards them, Han springs into action, confronting the wolf head-on. With a swift and decisive strike, Han successfully vanquishes the menacing creature. Then the second wolf comes from behind and strikes at Han, but he skillfully blocks the wolf's attack using his shield. As Han attempts to counterattack, the wolf retreats upon seeing his bold move. Without hesitation, Han charges forward and swiftly takes down the wolf. Afterward, he scans the area for the goblins and discovers that Jenna has already dispatched them. With the stage cleared, Han and Jenna both receive level advancements, with Han earning the prestigious MVP title. Additionally, they are rewarded for their efforts before being teleported back. Suddenly, a sense of pressure envelopes them. Han reassures Jenna that it's a normal sensation, similar to what they experienced when ascending to the second floor. They realize they're being transported to the third floor. Han reflects that if they had an impulsive master, they might have been thrust directly into the third floor, which could have been perilous at their current level. However, to their relief, the master logs out, alleviating the tension. Upon Isol mentioning her fatigue, Han questions why she feels tired when they are the ones engaged in battle on the battlefield. Han ponders whether each floor represents one day, and if time in the pick-me-up game moves 3 times slower than in the waiting room, then the master should log in again in 3 days. Observing his stats, he notices that his intelligence has decreased by 1 point, but his strength has increased by 2. Despite this, his overall stat growth remains at 4 points, suggesting that his leveling efficiency has improved, possibly indicating that his physical condition is getting better. Han concludes that the master isn't progressing hastily either. Had he remained at his initial state on the first floor, it would have posed a danger to everyone. Yeltsin and Toby express frustration, questioning Jenna about their whereabouts and the nature of the monsters they encountered. Han reflects that 1-stars are essentially ordinary individuals who have led lives far removed from battlefields. Now, he understands why 1-stars are derogatorily labeled as trash. Reflecting on the 2-star Mormont's declaration of being a mercenary, Han wonders if professions geared towards combat garner higher star levels. After all, high-ranking mercenaries remain composed even in the face of danger. He muses on the consequences of throwing freshly summoned 1-star mercenaries into battle, and they will go into a fear or panic status 100% of the time. But that's not the case with 3 stars and up. They will jump straight into battle. Were they summoned with prior knowledge, or do they know their objective and why they need to fight? Han thinks that Shay knew. Considering her attitude, Han is sure of it. Jenna tells Han that he can't help her out a little. Han tells Jenna that why would they bother with them. Jenna tells Han that they should coax them forward and make them their teammates, as it's better than nothing. Han tells Jenna that they will disappear soon, and it's not that they will be taken down in battle. Rather, if they stay like that, they will disappear. Han tells Jenna that Jenna and Han will be fighting together again in the next battle, and they should forget about these guys. Then Eren steps forward and tells Han there is something Eren wants to ask Han. Han tells Eren to keep it to himself. Angered, Eren grabs Han by his shirt, but then Han punches Eren, and Eren falls to the ground. Now, Han feels conflicted about the situation. Han, feeling the weight of responsibility, turns to Eren, explaining how he and the others had positioned themselves at the rear while he and Jenna bravely confronted the monsters head-on. Reflecting on the previous day's events, Han reassures Jenna that he acted in accordance with her wishes. The following morning heralded the continuation of their rigorous training regimen. Following the completion of basic exercises, Han and Jenna delved into the intricacies of weapons training. Amidst the flurry of activity, Han focused on honing his swordsmanship skills, while Jenna unleashed volleys of arrows with precision from her bow. Notably, Han's proficiency with the sword and shield surged to level 2, a testament to his dedication. Meanwhile, the absence of the three others from the training grounds did not escape notice. Instead, they embarked on a futile quest to locate an exit, expressing their desire to depart from their current predicament. Despite their efforts, the elusive exit remained elusive, leaving them resigned to their circumstances. In a subsequent scene, tension mounts as Jenna takes aim at Han with her arrows, prompting him to summon all his skill to deflect them. Unfortunately, one arrow finds its mark, piercing Han's leg. Concerned, Jenna rushes to his side, inquiring about his well-being. Han, displaying stoic resolve, reassures her, urging her to understand the fundamental differences in natural laws in their current environment, where wounds heal rapidly. Moreover, he reveals a newfound ability named pain resistance. As Han persisted in his training, he found solace in the discomfort it brought, recognizing pain as a vital indicator of his existence. With Jenna as his steadfast training partner, they navigated the challenges together. When the master finally made an appearance, Isil's call to assemble in the main hall stirred excitement among the group. Jenna, in particular, welcomed the break from the routine, eager for the opportunity it presented. Noticing Jenna's apparent knack for adaptation, Han couldn't help but marvel at her resilience, prompting a discussion between them about their differing paces of growth. Jenna attributed her ability to endure to her inherent toughness, a quality that seemed to serve her well in their current predicament. Meanwhile, the persistent pleas of the other three members of their party to return home grated on Isil's patience, ultimately resulting in a stern lesson administered by her. Following the resolution of the conflict, Party 1 ascended to the 3rd floor, where their encounter with goblins awaited. Han observed the goblins' enhanced gear and tactics with a discerning eye, yet remained confident in their ability to prevail, a confidence born out of their dedicated training. Together, he and Jenna dispatched the goblins with ease, their synchronized efforts a testament to their growing prowess. Reflecting on their victory, Jenna remarked on her increasing familiarity with the challenges they faced, prompting Han to ponder whether the current level was a bit easy. Jenna shares with Han her observation that the remaining three members still seem reluctant to engage in combat. Han acknowledges this, emphasizing that their reluctance doesn't concern him, as he has no desire to share experience points with those who don't actively contribute to battles. He points out that if they continue to abstain from fighting, they'll miss out on valuable experience points altogether. In a sudden turn of events, a window pops up, suggesting a strategy for dealing with disobedient heroes. The master should try spinning the wheel of fortune to encourage better behavior. Without delay, the master decides to challenge the 1st floor once again. Noticing the window, Han informs Jenna of the master's intention to spin the wheel of fortune. Moments later, the party finds themselves teleported back to the 1st floor. Reflecting on the situation, Han speculates that the master's decision to revisit the 1st floor indicates a preference for its relative safety. Upon encountering familiar goblins, Han remarks on their unchanged appearance from their previous encounter on the same floor. Jenna skillfully dispatches the goblins, earning recognition as the MVP for this round. However, the master's decision to challenge the first floor once more catches their attention. Han interprets this as a sign that the master won't allow them to rest so easily if they continue to clear the floor with such apparent ease. Following Jenna's decisive handling of the first stage goblins, Han took charge against the formidable third-floor monsters. Their relentless battles left both Jenna and Han drained and fatigued. Sensing Jenna's uncertainty about the master's future actions, Han could only respond with a shrug, unsure of what to expect. Concerned about the ongoing burden of accommodating the three reluctant members, Jenna voiced her frustration to Han. Despite his attempts to reassure her, Jenna remained skeptical, questioning the likelihood of the trio changing their ways. Han speculated aloud about the master's financial situation, suggesting that they might not be as financially secure as assumed if they could afford to retain unproductive players. As the synthesis stage approached, the gate opened, presenting a perplexed Eren and his companions with a new opportunity. Han silently criticized their inability to recognize and capitalize on such chances when presented. The scene transitioned to reveal the complex layout of the facility, encompassing various essential areas. These included the training ground, dormitory, battle facility housing the armory, the synthesis chamber, plaza hosting the space rift gates, and the alchemy facility, which doubled as the summoning room. Han reflects on the numerous opportunities that have been presented, recognizing that despite the absence of minor details on screen, the master should possess a comprehensive understanding of the situation. They ought to discern who actively engages in combat on the front lines and who shirks their responsibilities. Notably, Han and Jenna find themselves added to the master's list of favorites. Isol instructs Yeltsin and Jenna to proceed to the synthesizing room. Confused, Jenna turns to Han for clarification. Han reassures her, urging her not to worry as nothing untoward will befall her. Yeltsin queries Han about the consequences of entering the chamber for Isol. Han responds, suggesting that Yeltsin will likely be judged based on their actions. Frustrated, Yeltsin insists they've done nothing wrong, having been involuntarily brought to this place. In a surprising moment of agreement, Isol acknowledges their shared perspective as they both enter the synthesis chamber. Subsequently, Jenna experiences a level up and acquires a new skill, Hawkeye. Bewildered by Yeltsin's sudden disappearance, Jenna seeks clarification on the events that transpired. Han explains to Jenna that in this place, those who are deemed useless will be removed. Now, it's Han's turn to enter the synthesis chamber, and he wonders who will accompany him. Subsequently, we see Han paired with Toby. As Han progresses, he levels up and acquires a new skill, composure. Passing by Eren, Han casually remarks that Eren's success was merely luck. Jenna mentions that those deemed useless by the master tend to vanish in the synthesis chamber. Han inquires why Jenna appears saddened by this, considering she was the one who didn't want to be left behind. Jenna expresses concern that she too might face a similar fate if she ever becomes useless. Han reassures Jenna, explaining that as they ascend, they'll encounter increasingly formidable opponents, either succumbing to them or facing elimination in the synthesis chamber. Observing Han's seemingly extensive knowledge, Jenna remarks on his awareness of various aspects. Han advises Jenna to heed her father's advice, to align herself with those who possess strength if she wishes to survive. The scene transitions to the second day at the training center, where Jenna earnestly implores Han to take good care of her. Sensing her seriousness, Han queries if something has occurred to prompt her request. Jenna elaborates, recalling Han's earlier advice to align herself with the strong, hence her desire to seek his protection. She emphasizes her plea for Han to watch over her closely. In response, Han reassures Jenna, affirming that her diligence will safeguard her from being taken down. He encourages her not to dwell excessively on worry. Adding to the sentiment, Eren steps forward, echoing Jenna's request for Han's care and guidance. Expressing remorse for his prior lack of involvement in battles, Eren vows to amend his ways. Han, understandably skeptical, questions how he can trust Eren's newfound commitment. Eren earnestly pledges to do whatever it takes to earn Han's trust. Observing Eren's determination, Jenna remarks on his apparent newfound resolve. Han, inquisitive as ever, probes Eren's past experience with monster battles, to which Eren admits none. Han shares his own journey, disclosing that he, too, had no prior experience before arriving at this place. As a gesture of trust, he tosses a weapon to Eren. Eren admires Han's skill in combating monsters, prompting Han to attribute his success to a difference in determination, the resolve to win and survive. Observing the spear in Eren's possession, he notes its simplicity for beginners. Encouraged, Han suggests Eren try using it, querying his knowledge of close, mid, and spear-ranged combat basics. He emphasizes the importance of efficiency, particularly with their small party size, and urges Eren to ready himself for the impending fight. In response to Eren's surprise at the lack of formal instruction, Han wastes no time in demonstrating, charging at Eren with full force. Despite initial astonishment, Eren manages to block Han's strike. Attempting a counterattack, Eren's inexperience is evident as he closes his eyes. Han seizes the opportunity, swiftly delivering a kick to Eren's stomach, illustrating the potential consequences of such a mistake if facing a real monster. Jenna, observing the exchange, questions Han's severity towards Eren, especially considering it's Eren's first time attempting combat. Han expresses to Jenna his reluctance to take on the responsibility of caring for someone else, preferring to leave behind those who cannot keep up with him. Then, he turns his attention to Eren, inquiring about Eren's family. Eren reveals that he has a younger sister. Han reflects on Eren's fortune to have family, contrasting it with his own solitude. Pointing his sword at Eren, Han poses a hypothetical scenario, questioning how Eren would cope if he couldn't return home, highlighting the agony of defeat by a monster, a pain more profound than that of synthesis. He advises Eren to consider giving up if he finds himself unable to continue. In response, Eren meets Han's gaze with a serious expression, prompting Han to smile at the newfound determination reflected in Eren's eyes. Suddenly, a window appears, indicating that a forge has been selected, the annex of the armory. Han realizes that he has unlocked free roam, and that the forge is now open. He calls for Isol, who responds with frustration, questioning Han's entitlement to summon her whenever he pleases. Han expresses his growing frustration to Isol, stating that he's becoming bored with the repetitive tips she provides. Sensing his irritation, Isol reacts with anger, her frustration evident. Han points out that she's the one responsible for sending tips to their master, suggesting she explore the internet for fresh insights. He proposes that if she can access the internet and manipulate the system, her tips might carry more significance. Acknowledging her ability to influence the system, Isol admits to her hobby of browsing the web. Han deduces that the tips she sends are likely inspired by her online discoveries. He elaborates that after summoning equipment 10 times, one unlocks level 1 of the training facility, followed by access to the forge. Taken aback, Isol questions how Han acquired this information. Han casually mentions it's a popular post on the Pick Me Up site, particularly one authored by Loki. Isol is intrigued and asks if Han knows Loki, to which Han confirms, revealing that he's also an active user of Pick Me Up. Isol enlightens Han about Loki's legendary status as the god of Pick Me Up, suggesting he would reign supreme if he achieved a 7-star rating. Intrigued by Isol's admiration for Loki, Han delves deeper into the discussion. He learns that Loki is revered for accomplishing the seemingly impossible, earning admiration for his remarkable achievements. Isol expresses her surprise that Han, despite being a Pick Me Up user, was unaware of Loki's profound influence. Han apologizes for the oversight but stuns Isol by revealing his true identity. He is Loki. Isol's reaction is one of surprise upon hearing this revelation. Han proceeds to provide Isol with his account number, which is 46631913. He elaborates that due to the risk of hackers, the Pick Me Up account number is kept confidential, known only to the master himself and the server officials. Encouraging Isol to verify this information, Han suggests she check it out for herself. Isol follows Han's advice and conducts a search online. Upon confirming that Han is indeed Loki, she excitedly requests his autograph. She explains that with his signature, she can become a VIP member of Ragna Loki. Curious, Han inquires about Ragna Loki as he signs the autograph for her. Isol explains that it's a fan cafe dedicated to the Master of Masters, Loki, and a signature from him is a prerequisite for VIP membership. She expresses her astonishment at realizing she had been conversing with Loki all along. Han reassures Isol, downplaying his current one-star status, suggesting it's of little consequence. However, Isol raises an intriguing question about Niflheim, the name of the waiting room in Han's account. She elaborates on its extensive layout, mentioning the 13 floors solely dedicated to waiting rooms, accommodating up to 20,000 people. Despite this, she notes that the facilities boast top-notch infrastructure, providing comfort and convenience to the occupants. Even with all that, Han ponders the futility of it all, considering himself the true master of the situation. Shocked, Isol questions Han about the fate of the 20,000 troops. Han responds by suggesting that if she's concerned, she should send him back. Isol admits she can't do that. Han acknowledges this, recognizing Isol as an intermediary manager. Curious, Han inquires about the owner of the waiting room, named Whatever, wondering if they're a human from Earth and if the summoned heroes are also human. Isol confirms this, explaining that while the affiliated world is slightly different, its inhabitants are indeed people. Han deduces that the master of the room, Whatever, likely doesn't realize the characters are human and simply enjoys playing pick-me-up. Han then asks Isol if he can return to Earth by climbing the tower to the 100th floor. Isol admits she doesn't know. Moving on, Han queries if Isol knows who brought him here. Isol declines to answer. Han accepts this, noting that Isol previously mentioned he would find out as he climbed the tower. Then Han poses the next question to Isol, inquiring about the extent of the Master's authority she can access. Isol responds, stating that currently she can give advice, manage facility operations, and assist with various activities. Curious, Han asks if the waiting rooms for other masters are similar to theirs. Isol explains that while each one may have slight differences, they are fundamentally the same. Reflecting on this information, Han wonders if there are 100 million of these worlds in existence. He recalls Mobius Summon, the system supposedly capable of creating limitless heroes through the combination of thousands of patterns, and realizes it was a fabrication. He contemplates quantum AI, recognizing the heroes he once thought were artificial intelligence as real individuals. Additionally, he considers roguelike, realizing that the system generating limitless content likely also encompasses 100 million unique worlds. Han contemplates the significance of this revelation, realizing that each of the diverse worlds within the game exists as a reality in another dimension. He acknowledges that his careless decisions could potentially lead to a hero's demise. Addressing Isol, he emphasizes the importance of listening attentively if she wishes to ascend the tower alongside him. Since Han will allow Isol to climb the tower, Isol becomes excited upon hearing this news. The scene then shifts to the training center, where Han reflects on Jenna's remarkable progress. He considers her a genius, noting that her growth speed surpasses that of a one-star player. Despite never having handled daggers before, Jenna quickly grasps their usage. In contrast, Aaron's progress is sluggish, leading Han to worry that Aaron will eventually be defeated. After training, Jenna approaches Han and reveals that she faced Aaron while holding back, yet Aaron still couldn't defeat her. Han admonishes Jenna for her arrogance and instructs her to follow his lead. Jenna then asks Han if he will teach his number 1 subordinate today. Before Han can respond, Isol interjects, proclaiming herself as Han's number 1 subordinate. This sparks an argument between Isol and Jenna. Han attempts to intervene, reminding Isol of her responsibilities, but she disregards his words and continues arguing with Jenna. Observing the conflict, Han wonders if he should have refrained from revealing his identity as Loki to Isol. Despite this, he instructs Isol to open the warehouse. As they enter the warehouse, the scene transitions. Han retrieved iron, ore, leather, and wooden planks from the warehouse. He then informs Isol that this time she will be tasked with opening the forge. Jenna queries Han about his plans, to which he explains that she can't rely on her current iron weapon indefinitely, so he intends to craft a new one. Reflecting on his conversation with Isol, Han realizes that he embodies a unique existence, being part master and part hero. He concludes that this duality allows him to undertake processes like territorial invasion, typically reserved for masters. Isol inquires about Han's choice between Levitine and Bryanak. Han responds by stating that in a place like this, At this point, a window pops up, indicating insufficient facilities and penalties for various deficiencies, such as the absence of an artisan or blueprints. Despite these challenges, a synthesis window opens, and Han opts for manual production. Another window prompts him to select a puzzle difficulty, with greater difficulty promising greater rewards. Han chooses the ultra difficulty setting. Isol, surprised, informs Han that completing the puzzle on ultra difficulty will be impossible, especially with the triple penalty. Han dismisses her concerns, asserting that she should just watch, as this minigame is a favorite among masters despite its rarity. He explains that while most masters don't engage in it, the rewards are worthwhile. With a 3-minute time limit, Han tackles the puzzle confidently. Isol, struggling to comprehend the puzzle, expresses her confusion. However, Han remains unperturbed, reassuring her that it's not a problem. Isol is delighted by his confidence, anticipating witnessing the legendary Thousand Hands technique in action. With incredible speed, Han swiftly solves the puzzle and successfully forges a C-rank longsword. Isol is impressed by the sword's appearance as it materializes before Han. A window then appears, stating that the sword is remarkably strong, lightweight, and sharp. Despite the crude materials used, the craftsmanship compensates with exceptional skill.